My name is Jeannie Morris, and this is my 5th SAS Viya presentation, and we will be starting with the Working with Data Items section of the SAS Viya notes. So it first asks us to go to SAS Viya Explore and Visualize, which can be found in your left pane, right here. And then we were asked to open the Demos Marketing folder, which I have already done. So we're going to go to Data in the left pane, and it says to verify that customer ID and order ID appear in the category group. So under categories, we do see customer ID and order ID. Then it asks us to verify that the new column created in SAS Data Studio loyalty number appears in the category group. So loyalty number is present. Now we're asked to look at the measures group and verify that both days to delivery and profit appear. So days to delivery and profit are under measures. And now we're asked to start modifying things. So it asks us to modify properties for a data item, data order was delivered. So here we have date order was delivered. So it asks us to alter the format to this. So we'll double click it and click OK. And then it shows up here. And then we're asked to rename it to delivery date. So under name, we'll just put delivery date. And then to save it, you just click enter. And now you see that it has been changed. Then it asks us to modify the properties for the data item discount in percent of normal total retail price, which is right here. So it says for aggregation field, select average. And then in the name field, enter discount. And click enter. And now that has been saved. Then it asks us to modify the aggregation for the data item days to delivery right here. And it says again to change the aggregation to average. And then it wants us to name it average days to delivery. And then again, we'll just click enter to save it. Now it wants us to rename some data items in the category group. So let's scroll up to categories. So for the date order was placed, it wants us to rename it to order date. And then for cost in the measure group, it wants us to rename it to unit cost. And then for quantity ordered, it wants us to rename it to just quantity. And then for retail price, it wants us to name it total revenue. Now it asks us to create a data view. So at the top of the data pane, so we'll scroll up. At the top of the data pane next to data table, we'll click on the data source menu, and we will then select Save Data View. And then it says, for the name field, verify that Customer Clean View 1 is specified. And in the description field, it wants us to enter modified data item properties. And then renamed, changed formats, changed aggregations. And then you would click Save to save the report. And that concludes the first part of the 5th SAS Viya presentation. So this begins the second part of the 5th SAS Viya assignment, and it has asked us to access the VA1 Practice 3.1. So I went ahead and done that to save some time. And then it wants us to go into the data pane, and it asks what is the classification of employee ID, and we can see here that employee ID is classified as a category, and it asks us what is manager at level 1 classified, and we can see that it's classified as a measure. It then asks what does the frequency data item represent. So we can see that it has an aggregation of count, so we can assume that the frequency is counting the clean employees, but if we wanted to get a better understanding of this, we can drag it. No, we cannot. Okay. Let's try one more time. Nope, it says it's an invalid target. So we'll just have to look here. Format is (12). And the sample is 56,790. So we can assume that the frequency is measuring the clean employees, as it is classified as a measure. It says to change the classification for manager at level 1 to category. So we'll just go to the classification and click category, and it will be moved up to that section. And to change the format for annual salary to $13.2, so we need to add a decimal. We'll do that here under format. And then it says to rename the following data items. So it wants us to rename employee ID and call it ID. I did not mean to do that. So ID. And then to rename employee name to just name. And then manager at level 1 to manager ID. And then the frequency to number of employees. So like I was saying earlier, the frequency is just measuring the number of employees. Then it asks us to go to the data source menu and click refresh employees clean at the top of the data pane. So that will be right here. And this collapses the data item properties. And then it tells us to save the report. And that concludes the second part of the 5th assignment. This begins the third part of the fifth SAS Viya assignment, and we were asked to go to the demo 3.2a under Explore and Visualize, and it wants us to turn off automatic graph titles. So we're going to go to the username settings, go to General, scroll down, and where it says Graphs, we're going to put no title. Go ahead and close. Then it wants us to create an automatic chart for profit. So we'll go to Data, find Profit. We're just going to drag it over. And it has created a histogram. Then in the right pane, we're going to go to our roles. And we're currently measuring profit and frequency. So we're going to click on frequency and change it to frequency percent. And this updates it on the y-axis. Then in the right pane, it wants us to click Options and expand the object group. So in the name field, enter distribution of profit. And then here it says no title because we turned off the automatic titles. We can add it back. And then in the upper right corner of the histogram, it wants us to maximize it. And this then shows us our profits down here at the bottom. And then it wants us to create a crosstab. So in the left pane, we're going to click Objects. And it says Objects pane is not available when an object is maximized. So we just need to restore this. Go back. And then we need to find crosstab and just drag it over. And then in the right pane, we're going to go back to roles. For rows, we're going to add order type and click OK. And then for the measures, we have frequency and it wants us to select profit. Click OK. And then it wants us to get rid of frequency. And here we can see catalog sales, internet sales, and retail sales. So next it wants us to go to options at the very bottom and click on the totals checkbox and change it to columns. It then wants us to go to the background color. Right here and change it to a pale blue. For the format field, verify that it is bold. And we are just about out of time, so I'm going to end this video, but I hope you learned something.